Good day, students. Welcome to mathgoodserve.com. In this clip, we're going to be going over how to calculate simple interest. We're going to get started by taking a look at the formula that will guide our problem solving process. Okay, so let's take a look at the formula for calculating simple interest. The formula for calculating simple interest is I, the simple interest, equals principal times rate times time. Okay, so I represents the simple interest. Okay, P represents the principal. This is the amount of money that you start with that you're going to be earning interest upon. Okay, R is the rate. Okay, the interest rate. Interest rate in decimal form. Okay, that's very important. Do not forget to convert your interest rate from percent to decimal form before you insert it into the simple interest formula. T represents time, and this time is time in years. Okay, so if you're given an interest rate problem and it's given in months, you have to carry out the necessary conversion by dividing it by 12 in order to get your years equivalent for T to calculate the simple interest. Okay, so let's keep those 2 points in mind. All right, let's take a look at the first question, number 1. What if we were to calculate the simple interest? Calculate the simple interest on $10,000 for 3 years at a rate of 5%. Okay, so what's the simple interest that will be earned on this amount of money in 3 years at a rate of 5%? So we'll start out by writing our formula. Simple interest I is equal to principal times rate times time. Okay, so let's state what we know and what we need. So based on this problem, our principal, the starting amount, is 10,000. Okay, so whatever you're calculating your interest on, that's your P. The rate R is 5%, which has to be converted into decimal form. To do that, you move the decimal point to the left 2 places, so that's 0.05. T is time in years. T, as we can see here, is 3. And then I is what we need. Okay, so these are the knows and this is the need right here. Okay, we have all the components we need to calculate our simple interest. So what we're going to do is substitute it into the formula, and we'll have I equals principal 10,000 times rate 0.05 times time, which is 3. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plug in these values into our calculators. Just simply find the product, and that will be our simple interest. So 10,000 times 0.05 times 3, and the simple interest is I is equal to $1,500. Okay, so let's go ahead and box our final result. All right, let's take a look at question number 2. What if we were to determine the simple interest on $22,000 for 18 months at a rate of 4.25%. Okay? Alright, so let's start by writing down our formula again. The simple interest I is equal to principal times rate times time. Okay, so let's go ahead and list what we know and what we need. We're looking for this simple interest here, so we know the principal P, the starting amount, is 22,000. The rate is 4.25. Now you might think this is a decimal form, but you have the percentage symbol attached to it, so this is a percent. We have to convert it to decimal. So this is the same thing as 0.0425. This is accomplished by moving the decimal point 2 places to the left. Okay? The time frame is 18 months. Remember that t in this formula is in years. Okay? So 18 months is simply 18 over 12 years. If you're given the time frame in months, you just divide it by 12 years, since there are 12 months in a year. Okay? Alright, now let's go ahead and plug it into the formula. Let's also state what we need, which is I, the simple interest, is unknown. So we have I equals the principal, 22,000, times the rate, 0.0425, times the time in years, 18 over 12, or you can reduce it by dividing by 6. That gives you 3 over 2, but let's just leave it as 18 over 12. Okay? We're going to let the calculator do the simplification and multiplication for us. Now let's enter these values into our calculator and calculate the simple interest. So we have 22,000 times 0.0425 times, let's enter our fraction with parentheses, 18 divided by 12. And our simple interest is $1,402.05. So it's 1,402 and 50 cents. 1.02. 1402.50. Okay? Alright, let's take a look at problem 3. Now, what if we're to determine a time period? Okay? So the question is, how long will it take for an amount of 10,000 to earn a simple interest of $500 at a rate of 5%. Okay? Alright, so let's take a look at how to solve this problem. We'll start by writing down our formula for computing simple interest. Simple interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Let's write down what we know. We know that the simple interest I is 500. The principal P, the starting amount, is 10,000. The rate R is 5%. This has to be converted into decimal form, which is 0.05. Okay, so these are the values that we know. What do we need? What are we calculating? We're calculating how long it would take to earn an interest of 500. So t is the unknown here. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and substitute what we know and need into the formula. So simple interest 500 is equal to principal, which is 10,000, times the rate of 0.05 times time, which is unknown, so it retains its value of t. Okay? Now, the goal is to get t isolated, so we have to use our algebraic skills here. We notice that these two values are being multiplied by t, so what we need to do is basically divide both sides by 10,000 times 0.05. Okay? Or you can multiply them together and then divide by the resulting value. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. If we multiply 10,000 by 0.05, that gives us 500. So we have 500 equals 500t. To get t by itself, we'll divide both sides by 500. And that will give us our t value. T is 500 over 500, which is 1 year. So it's going to take you 1 year to earn 500 if you start with 10,000 with a simple interest rate of 5%. Okay? Alright, let's take a look at question number 4. Now let's assume that if a starting amount of 12,000 yields a simple interest of $100, okay, over a period of 3 years, what is the annual rate? Okay, so that's the question. What's the annual rate? Alright, let's go ahead and write down our formula again. Simple interest I is equal to principal times rate times time. The simple interest in this case, I, is $100. Okay? Principal, the starting amount, is 12,000. The time, t, is what? 3 years. And the interest rate r is unknown. That's what we're calculating for. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and substitute what we know and need into the equation. We have the interest, which is 100. That is equal to the principal, 12,000, times the rate of, well, the rate is unknown, and the time is 3 years. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is let's multiply 3 and 12,000. We have 100 equals 3 times 12 is 36,000 r. Now, to get r by itself, we're going to use algebra to do this. So we'll divide both sides by the coefficient of r, which is 36,000. So divide both sides by 36,000. So on the right side, the 36,000 cancels out. And we have r equals, let's calculate that with our calculators, 100 divided by 36,000, or you can do 1 over 360, the same thing. You have 0.000277. So the rate is 0.0027. Let's see what we have here. 27. If we round it to 4 decimal places, it'll be 0.0028. Now this is the rate in decimal form. So what is the rate going to be in percent? In percent, we're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the left. Remember to go from percent to decimal, you move it to the left. Now we're going to move it to the right. Okay, so move it 2 places to the right. We go 1, 2, put the decimal point there, and our interest rate is going to be 0.28%. Okay, this is the interest rate that will generate that interest of $100 if you start with 12,000. All right, let's take a look at the last question, question number 5. So what if we want to calculate the starting amount? Okay, so how much is needed to earn a simple interest of $5,000 at an annual rate of 5% in 4 years. Okay? Alright, so to do this, let's start by writing down our formula. Simple interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Let's write out what we know. We know that the interest that you desire to earn is 5,000. The rate is 5%, which is equal to 0.05 if you move the decimal place point 2 places to the left. The time t is 4 years. And p, the principal or starting amount, is unknown. Okay, so let's substitute these values into the formula and compute what the value of p is. So we have 5,000 equals the principal, we do not know what that is, times the rate, 0.05, times the time, 4. Now let's multiply the two numbers we have on the right side, 0.05 times 4, which is 0.2. So we have 5,000 equals 0.2p. To get p isolated, the principal value, we'll divide both sides by the coefficient, 0.2, since that's the inverse of multiplication. The 0.2's cancel out, and we have a final answer p as 5,000 divided by 0.2. So 5,000 divided by 0.2, and our answer is $25,000. This is the amount of money you have to start with in order to earn an interest of 5,000 in 4 years at a rate of 5% annually. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this presentation. Really appreciate it. If you found the contents of this tutorial helpful in your studies of simple interest, to give us a thumbs up. Your positive feedback is very valuable to us. If you have any questions or comments about the contents of this presentation or any college math questions in general, just place your question in the comment section below and we'll be more than glad to support you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for updates to other tutorials such as this. More clips can be found on mathgotserved.com. Thanks again for watching and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.